We've finally made it. We're in Unit 5. Everybody's favorite unit because you get to pick what you want to do. Let's get started.
Now let me see everybody do this. Hey, let's go. Snap your fingers, do your step. You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it. Let me see you do it.
It's time! It's time for you guys to take on this independent project and run with it. So you guys already know the choices because I introduced this unit at the beginning of the year to you guys, but let's go ahead and look back through all the options you have. Now, because we're doing this digitally, it's going to be more on you to make sure that you guys are kind of following the timelines and pacing. Remember, this is an independent work unit. So for this unit, you get to pick whatever project best fits you, whatever you want. You get to be in charge of managing your time wisely and completing your final project by the due date. And then finally, this final project is really all about showcasing you, your writing abilities, your skills, your talents, and drawing on all of those amazing things that make you the wonderful individual you are to create a beautiful final project. So here's the overview of how this project is going to work. So please look at this and understand the timeline when you're starting to make your choice. You don't have unlimited time to make this final project. So I want you guys to really think carefully in the choice you're going to make. What's something that you can accomplish and accomplish well in the amount of time you have? So this week is planning week. This first week, you guys are going to go through all the project options. You guys are going to decide which one, and you can't do more than one. You need to decide which one is the one that most calls to and speaks to your heart. Then it's time to start planning. You guys are going to create sort of a general outline, and you're going to narrow down your specific topic. So what do I mean by narrow down the specific topic? Let's say, for example, you are going to write a sports article. That's your project option. But when you're deciding what specifically to do, you need to pick a certain sport and maybe even a specific game that you're going to write that article about. Because a lot of sports have been canceled, you could write your sort of version of what you think the season would have turned out like for the NBA had they been allowed to play. You know, you have some creativity here. So that's the first week. The second week is writing. It's making your project the entire time. It's just you doing the project. So you have an entire week of my class to do it. You could give yourself sort of a timeline where you work for about 15 minutes each day, or you can be one of those people who gets into a flow and you just want to sit down for like 2 or 3 hours and knock the puppy out and just be like, I'm done. It's up to you. It's up to what works best for you and the way that your brain works in terms of time management. But either way, your job that second week is to do the thing, okay? By the end of the week, you guys need to have finished your rough draft. The third week is editing and revising. That's actually going to be sort of almost a half week because Thursday and Friday of that week, you guys are going to be doing a different project that has nothing to do with my class. So you guys are going to sort of lose some academic days there. Think of it almost like, I don't know, a field trip type days. So just know that you won't have half of that week. So that entire week is going to be dedicated to editing and revising. Okay. Now, the fourth week is going to be submitting your final project, and then you guys are going to be creating a video presentation. You guys, very much like we did with the Dream Job interview, you guys are going to be kind of explaining the process of creating your final project, and then you guys are going to be reading us a sample and showing us a sample. You're going to be using screen recording software just like I'm using right now to sort of show off your project and talk us through what you did. And then the very last week is you guys actually actually sharing that video and sharing your project with the class. We will end with a final course reflection, and that's it. That's gonna be our final unit of the year. These next 5 weeks, I think they're gonna really fly by. But again, this final module is very independent and work at your own pace. So please don't procrastinate. I don't want you guys to dig yourself a hole. Polo, unnecessary. You guys are problem children. Do you see these problem children? Yeah. Okay. So let's keep going. All right. These are your project options. You have so many options. If you're into creative writing, you guys can write a book of poetry, a short story, a spin-off fanfic. You guys can start a novel. You are not required to finish a novel. Or you can do some sort of like nonfiction creative writing. I've given you guys sort of some examples over here of different apps or things that might help with that. But honestly, with this project, you're kind of looking up online guides and tutorials, or just kind of going with what you know. My biggest suggestion for this final unit is to pick something that feels comfortable and familiar that you can do really, really well. You could, of course, challenge yourself to try something you've never tried before, and I support that. But just know that because you are on your own, and this is done digitally with e-learning, I'm not there to help you the way I would be in class if you were trying something you've never done before. So, for example, let's say you're like, oh, I've always wanted to make a website or blog, but you've never worked in Wix before. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. I'm not saying you can't do it. I would really encourage you to, do the thing that calls to your heart. Just know that if you're trying to do something you've never done before, it may take a little bit longer and may be a little bit more difficult. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so keeping going. If you're a gamer, you can write your own video game plot line, make a character list with sort of explanations. You can write an RPG script. You can write a choose your own adventure story, just like we did in Unit 2, but now you get to write one all by yourself. You can create a digital escape room, kind of like you guys have done in history class. Or you guys can create a little short D&D campaign, like a one-shot campaign. Again, I encourage you to only choose something like a D&D campaign if you've played D&D before. So for social media, you can do a website or a blog. You can create an online portfolio. One of my favorite projects was a couple of years back, I had a student who was an artist and she created her own online portfolio, and she even created a working web page where she could sell her paintings. So she featured her different paintings and sold a few of them off of the website, which was actually pretty neat. If you're into sports, you can do an ESPN news broadcast. You can create an athletic autobiography, which is sort of a story of your athletic experiences. Or you could write a newspaper article on a particular sport or game. This one's a really popular option. You can use the Google Drive templates to make it look really nice, and then just read examples of online sports articles and kind of model it after that. If you're into art, music, or theater, we've got some options for you. You can write a song or a rap. Now, here's the thing about this one. You have to create both original music and lyrics. You cannot borrow somebody else's beat they've already made and just put your own lyrics with it. You can't borrow somebody else's musical instrument playing, etc., and then just put your lyrics on top of it. You need to be creating an original song. So if you're going to do that, you should already be somebody who like plays an instrument or makes beats on their own. That one I really am going to encourage you not to try unless it's something that you are familiar with. You can create a children's book or a comic strip or a story. A lot of people in the past have shown off their incredible artistic skills by pairing it with words, and it's been really beautiful. If you're going to do a children's book, I would encourage you to do kind of like older elementary age children's book, so that you can show off your own writing skills. And then if you're into acting, you can write like a little one-act play. You can even film it. That'd be pretty cool. Real world writing options. You can write a critical review. So you could go watch a movie and write a critical review of that movie, sort of like on Rotten Tomatoes. I've got a full-on guide for that one since I used to do that as an actual project in my class. You can write a magazine or a newspaper article. You guys can create a Wikipedia project page for a topic that doesn't currently exist. You guys can present an original or write and present an original debate topic. Again, I only encourage this one if you're already a debater and that's something that you're really into. You can create a TED Talk style speech and presentation. This is something that I think has a lot of potential. You guys could give your opinions on something like the e-learning situation, the COVID-19 and the quarantine. You could even talk about, an aspect of middle school and the middle school experience, like how to avoid cliques and find yourself. I think that one has a lot of cool potential and ideas. And finally, you could even write your own comedy routine. If you have another idea, email me or see me during office hours, but I would recommend you kind of stick to one of these for this project, especially since I'm not there in class. All right, next up in the module, I have created a list of guides that sort of go into these project options in a little bit more depth and help you sort of explore them. I just want you guys to know that when it comes to this project, one of the most common questions I get is, how long does this have to be? How much is enough? And my answer for that is there is no page minimum or maximum. And that annoys the crap out of some of my students because they want me to tell them when they get to stop. And the answer is, it's when you think you've done enough. It's when you think that you have shown your writing skills to me and created something that feels complete and, sort of meets the requirements of this unit. I'm going to be judging each of you individually and not comparing you to one another. I am looking at your progress and growth in this class. I'm going to be looking at, do I think that you used your time wisely while completing this project? Do I feel like it was something that you got to spend, several weeks developing and working on and creating? Does it highlight your passion, your creativity, your skills? And does it allow you to reach your writing potential? I want you to challenge yourself, but I also want you guys to have fun. So, when you're choosing your option, remember that no matter what, you're being graded on your writing above all else. This is a writing project. So if you're doing, a children's book or comic strip, you need to make sure that you have a substantial amount of writing for me to grade, not just visuals, because again, this is a writing class. What I've done is I've kind of gone into detail on each of these different options and how I would sort of guide you through them. I highly recommend that you guys actually go into the module and go to where it says project option guides and look through this for the option that you're considering or options you're considering to help you as you make your choice and start to work. And then finally, if you're feeling completely lost, I have some examples of past student work, and looking at some of those may actually help get you started. So that's it. That's the intro to the Unit 5 project. Everything that I just went over with you, absolutely everything, is here in the modules. So if ever you get lost, confused, concerned, you want to find a resource, something that I've told you in the past or shown you in the past, it's always going to be in the modules. Okay? All right, guys, good luck. I'm so excited for you.